Hey there, this is Christy Winfrey with Legacy Transactions, bringing you another Tuesday tip this week. This week, I want to talk about the third-party buyer approval. Sometimes there's a little confusion on this, and so I just want to bring some clarity. So let's take a look at that third-party addendum. So right here on the third-party, paragraph 2A, this is where you would write in the amount of days that the buyer has to obtain buyer approval. And the reason I say buyer approval is because it's based on the buyer's loan approval, based on their creditworthiness, their assets, and their income. So if the appraisal is not in by that date, the buyer can still receive buyer approval. It just wouldn't be full loan approval by that date. Now, ideally, we truly would like to have the clear to close by that date. However, I'll say I rarely ever see that happen. It's usually the conditional approval. And so what we always do for our agents when we're working on a file is when we represent the buyer, we're always reaching out to that lender a couple of days ahead before that buyer's loan approval date ends. And we're asking, hey, the loan approval ends on, let's say, Wednesday, and we're asking on Monday, do you anticipate any issues with this buyer's loan approval that would require us to need to ask for an extension of that loan approval date? We're also confirming that the buyer has conditional approval. If they have clear to close, that is fantastic. That's what you really want. But like I said, I rarely see us have the clear to close by that date that the buyer has to be approved. So you want to make sure that you're checking in with the lender just to make sure that that buyer's individual loan approval, aside from the property approval, is actually good by that deadline. And if it's not, if they haven't been conditionally approved, or if the lender sees any kind of potential issues, like for instance, maybe their debt to income ratio is like borderline right there, it could end up being too high, then if you're the buyer's agent, you really want to try to see if you can extend that loan approval deadline. As a listing agent and on the seller side, it's not in the seller's best interest to do so. But when you work with those buyers, you want to make sure you're protecting their earnest money. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out, and we hope you have a fantastic week.